Welcome back to the deep dive. So, North Carolina, when you picture it, you're probably thinking, sandy beaches, maybe the Blue Ridge Peaks.
Right, or those charming historic towns, classic stuff.
Exactly. But what we found digging through these sources is, well, there's this whole other layer, a seriously chilling side.
Yeah, it makes it, I think, one of the most uniquely haunted states in the U.S. It's fascinating.
It really is.
Because our source material, it gives us this really vivid contrast. On one hand, you've got these guides to the big commercial scream parks,
Yep.
fog machines, actors jumping out, pure adrenaline.
The seasonal stuff, yeah.
But then you flip over to these other accounts, centuries-old historical records, genuine, deep-rooted paranormal activity that was around way before any amusement park.
Okay, so our mission today is pretty clear then. We're going to pull out the key features, the locations, the legends, basically everything that defines North Carolina's haunted landscape. We want to make sure you're sort of well-equipped, whether you're thinking about a historical ghost tour or maybe one of those intense seasonal fright nights.
It's like the essential shortcut, right? Understanding terror, Tar Heel style. We're charting a course from the coast where you still hear whispers about pirates.
Ooh.
All the way up into those Appalachian ridges where maybe more primal spirits roam.
All right, let's unpack that and maybe start with the immediate stuff. The seasonal scares, that sensory experience.
Good idea.
Because when fall hits North Carolina, it's not just apple picking. It's prime time for these massive, professionally designed haunted attractions.
Yeah.
Actors, elaborate sets, the whole shebang.
Right. And if you're planning on visiting one, the sources give some really critical, practical advice. Think of it as your learner's shortcut to avoid the common headaches.
Okay, like what?
Well, first off, expect paperwork. Sounds boring, but a lot of these places require you to sign a liability waiver.
Seriously.
Yeah. And doing it online beforehand saves a ton of time waiting in line.
Which, honestly, is already a bit unsettling, isn't it? You're signing something acknowledging risks before you even get scared.
Exactly. And timing. Heed the timing advice. These places get absolutely packed, especially weekends in October.
Oh, I bet.
Arrive early, well before sundown. Otherwise, you could genuinely spend 2 hours in line just to get maybe 2 minutes of actual scares.
Right. And what about rules inside?
Yeah, clear rules of engagement. This is theater, basically. So guests absolutely cannot touch the actors, the props, the sets.
Okay, hands off.
And crucially, no flash photography. It ruins the mood, obviously, but the sources also point out with all the strobe effects they use, flashing lights can actually be unsafe.
Good point. And you mentioned strobes. It's a full sensory assault, isn't it?
Oh, totally intentional. Expect heavy fog machines, those strobe lights, really aggressive soundtracks designed to disorient you.
Sounds intense.
It is, but, if it gets too intense, respect those clearly marked chicken exits.
Chicken exits. Love it.
The sources emphasize they're there for a reason. Better to tap out than, have a full-blown panic attack in some blackout maze.
Definitely. Okay, so let's ground this with some specific examples. You mentioned how they integrate history sometimes.
Yeah, let's look at a couple that show that, or just unique concepts. Up in the mountains near Asheville, there's the Haunted Farm in Hendersonville.
Okay.
What's really interesting here is that it's actually on land linked to a real historical blood feud between two families, the Liveleys and the Tates.
Whoa, seriously. So they're pulling from real local darkness.
Exactly. They market attractions like the Meat House, the Slaughterhouse, the Demon Hay Shed. It really leans into that region's, farming history, but twists it into something horrifying.
So that ground itself has this, heavy history of conflict.
Pretty much. Then you move southeast towards Charlotte and you see just extreme scale. Scarowinds at the Carowinds amusement park.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It transforms the whole park. We're talking over 300 monsters. Huge, complex scare zones. They mentioned a new one, Defects 2.0 Maze. Sounds intense.
Wow. And then there's something like Scarowinds Farms. That sounds different.
It's wonderfully strange, yeah. It's a mile-long haunted trail on an actual working farm.
A mile, yeah.
But the detail that really jumped out from the sources, their explicit warning. Buying a ticket means you consent to experiencing heckling.
You're kidding. You pay to get yelled at by actors.
Apparently. That's a unique customer proposition, right?
That's one way to put it.
It really speaks to the creativity, I guess. And then down in the Piedmont Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem area, you have these massive operations. Woods of Terror.
Okay.
It spans 45 acres. 17 different attractions. including something called blackout terror, which sounds like pure sensory deprivation horror, completely dark.
Yokes. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Let's use that idea of local history,
Right.
like at the Haunted Farm, as a bridge. Let's pause the scripted screams, the actors,
Yeah.
and shift gears. Because North Carolina, being one of the original 13 colonies, it just has centuries of deep, unexplained paranormal stuff kind of baked into the landscape.
Yeah, if we connect back to that theme of density, the state's timeline from colonial times through the Civil War and beyond, it's created these layers of tragedy that really seem to fuel the legends.
So we're moving from the temporary scare to the enduring eerie.
Exactly, the truly enduring.
Where should we start? Maybe the grandest home in the whole country, Biltmore Estate in Asheville.
Oh, definitely. We know the hauntings there are often linked to George Washington Vanderbilt himself. People see him like a shadowy figure.
Right, and his wife Edith, hearing her whispering for him in the library,
Mm.
that's classic spectral sorrow tied to loss.
It is. But here's where the source material gets kind of weird and interesting. Because the activity isn't all solemn, you know? Why do people report hearing splashing and laughter from the empty indoor swimming pool?
That's odd.
And even stranger, why is there reportedly a headless orange cat roaming the grounds?
Headless orange cat. Okay, that throws the whole vibe off, doesn't it?
It really does.
It suggests Biltmore isn't just haunted by, the grand sadness of the Vanderbilts. Maybe it's accumulated energy, staff, guests, or even echoes of happier times, maybe. But the cat,
The headless orange cat just adds this layer of surreal, almost whimsical dread. It's bizarre.
it really defies easy explanation.
And that's kind of a theme across the state, it seems. Consider the USS North Carolina down in Wilmington.
The battleship, right?
Yep. World War II battleship, commissioned 41, lost 10 men during its service. Now it's a museum, but visitors report these intense cold spots.
Yeah.
Distinct ghostly footsteps.
Wow, it's got to be the confine of the tragedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
A ship is such a closed system.
Mm-hmm.
The sources mentioned sightings of young soldiers, peering out of portholes or lingering in the washroom.
Yeah. Does that intense, confined combat experience just sort of anchor that residual fear to the metal itself?
That's the theory, right? Intense emotions leaving a psychic residue.
Seems plausible. And we see similar density even in, government buildings. The North Carolina State Capitol in Raleigh. Paranormal activity reported since the mid-1800s.
Ghostly politicians, seriously.
Apparently, conducting meetings, maybe. Evidenced by, the smell of cigar smoke in rooms where nobody's smoked for decades.
Cigar smokes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's specific.
The old manual elevator reportedly moves entirely on its own sometimes.
Why cigar smoke, though? Is there a reason?
Well, the sources suggest it's tied to those really contentious legislative sessions, especially around the post-Civil War era. So the cigar smoke isn't random. It's like a specific sensory link back to that time.
Huh. Intense 19th century state politics leaving a literal scent behind.
Maybe. And the elevator moving on its own? Maybe a symbol of political maneuvering, unseen hands pulling strings.
Creepy. Okay, let's shift to some really famous legends. The Coast. We have to talk about the biggest mystery in American history, right? The Lost Colony. Roanoke Island.
Oh, absolutely. Outer Banks. This settlement just vanishes in 1587, and the only clue left behind, that single chilling word carved into a tree. Croatoan.
Gives me chills just thinking about it.
The sheer ambiguity, the not knowing, that's what gives the legend its power, I think. The lack of closure means these local stories persist, that the troubled, maybe confused spirits of those settlers are still there, still haunting the island.
Searching for a community that just evaporated. America's first existential horror story.
Well put. And from that ambiguity of disappearance, we go to the certainty of violence. Blackbeard.
Ah, the infamous pirate Edward Teach.
Beheaded right there at Teach's Hole, near Ocracoke Island, 1718. But it's the legend around his death that's so iconic.
The detail about his final moments.
Exactly. The story goes that after decapitation, his body swam 3 full laps around his ship before sinking.
Unbelievable, that image. Raw, headless power.
It's unforgettable. And visitors today, they report hearing his voice, supposedly yelling, "Where's my head?" carried on the wind during storms off the island.
Wow. A literal echo of that coastal brutality.
Mm-hmm. We also get those sort of classic American ghost stories. The sources mention Lydia's Bridge near Jamestown.
Okay, what's that one?
It's North Carolina's version of the vanishing hitchhiker, the lady in white.
Ah,
Okay.
picked up by a driver.
Yep, only to disappear. And then the driver finds out she died in a car crash back in 1923, right at the same bridge where he just saw her. Classic trope, but rooted locally there.
It's amazing how persistent those stories are.
It really is. And finally, maybe the most ancient and just inexplicable haunt, the Devil's Tramping Ground, Bear Creek.
Well, I've heard of this, the Barren Circle.
That's the one. A 40-foot circle where literally nothing grows. Legend says it's because the devil paces there every night.
And things left inside vanish.
Items left in the center reportedly disappear by morning.
Yeah. Okay, that location shifts the focus completely. It's not human tragedy anymore. It's something else. Ancient, non-human menace.
Right. It raises that big question. Why is the circle barren? Is it geological, some weird soil thing? Or is it genuinely, diabolical? Regardless, it's a powerful reminder that not all the terror in North Carolina is tied to pirates or politicians or lost colonists. Some of it feels fundamentally wild, unexplained.
So wrapping this all up, what's the takeaway for you listening? North Carolina offers this incredibly rich tapestry of terror, doesn't it?
It really does. Whether you're drawn to the expertly choreographed jump scares of a place like Woods of Terror with its 17 attractions,
or the deep historical resonance, like Blackbeard's spectral fury or Edith Vanderbilt whispering in the Biltmore Library.
Right. This state really seems to have a ghost story tailored for almost every preference.
That density of history. Blending the colonial past, the Civil War, that coastal maritime legacy, mixing it all with this high-octane modern entertainment.
That's what makes it such a unique destination for anyone interested in the paranormal, I think.
Definitely. But before we sign off, let's circle back to that final category you mentioned, that regional dread, the non-human stuff that seems to exist outside history and tragedy.
Yeah.
We've covered vanishing hitchhikers, pirates missing their heads. But what about just sheer wild terror?
Well, when you get up into the solitude of the high mountains, the terror seems to take on a different shape. More primal, maybe? Consider the legend of the demon dog of Valley Cruces.
The demon dog. Okay, tell me more.
Witnesses describe this thing as massive, jet black, with glowing eyes and yellow teeth. It's not a funly spirit, not a historical echo. It's described as this animalistic terror that chases cars, specifically cars speeding past the Old Stone Cemetery way up high in that isolated mountain town.
So just pure, raw, elemental threat.
Pretty much. Something to think about, maybe. Drive carefully out there, especially in those winding mountain roads, and keep your eyes peeled for things that maybe defy categorization.